Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children.
Hello, I'm Bonnie Boswell. Today I'm going to introduce you to two men generations apart who have been in the vanguard of the social justice movement. Now, I grew up in segregated Kentucky and segregated Chicago, so I know firsthand racism can stare you in the face. But in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, it was sometimes harder to call out. My brother, an off-duty policeman in Chicago, was killed by a white officer he was trying to help. Bill was shot 6 times. They called it friendly fire. But let's fast forward to 2020. The murder of George Floyd and others killed by police just sickened people. Many Americans and people throughout the world said, enough. No more standing on the sidelines. What can I do? Pastor Jim Lawson and attorney Bryan Stevenson are two people I think have real answers. In 1960, Jim taught college students like the young John Lewis, later known as Congressman John Lewis, the philosophy and strategy of nonviolent protest. They desegregated downtown Nashville in just 10 days. Martin Luther King called this the model of the movement. He also called Jim the leading nonviolent theorist in the world.
Martin said quietly to me, "Don't wait, come now, we need you."
From then till now, Jim has fought for justice and equality. I consider him my personal mentor. Bryant is a new hero of the movement and the subject of the movie Just Mercy. He is a lawyer who specializes in getting people out of jail for crimes they did not commit. He has helped overturn laws that allow juveniles to serve life sentences. He founded the National Memorial for Peace and Justice and the Legacy Museum in Montgomery, Alabama. These spaces use art and storytelling to help Americans come to terms with our history of enslavement, lynching, and segregation as steps toward reconciliation. I wanted these men to come together to give their perspective on today's challenges and to help us strengthen our resolve to work for the common good. Jim and Bryan, thank you so much for joining me today. You both have been working for social justice for years. I mean, this is hard and often frustrating work. So I want to know, how are you able to work for justice year after year?
I got into this work when I went to death row in the 1980s as a law student and was put in a small area with a condemned man. We started talking and it turned out we were exactly the same age. I was a law student at Harvard Law School. And after 3 hours, the guards got mad because I hadn't ended the visit, and they came in the room and they took this man and they threw him against the wall. They pulled his arms back and they put the handcuffs back on his wrists. They wrapped the chain around his waist. They put the shackles on his ankles, and they were treating him so violently. And I begged them to be gentler, but they ignored me. And the thing he did then shaped my career.
I'm pressing on the upward way, new heights I'm gaining every day.
And I knew that my journey was tied to his journey because I realized that if he can't get to higher ground, I can't get to higher ground. And it radicalized my interest in the law. I went back to Harvard Law School. You couldn't get me out of the law school library because I needed to know everything.
Jim, you started the practice of nonviolence when you were only 10 years old. A white boy called you the N-word and you hit him. But your mother later said, "Jimmy, there must be a better way." So you found a better way, the way of nonviolence. I want to know, how have you persevered for more than 80 years?
So the fight against evil, wrong, injustice is not merely a something I have come to do because I want to do it. No, it's because for human beings to come alive and to reflect the glory of life, these oppressive systems from the past, which none of us have created, must be demolished and allow us to replace them with new ways in and for our total human community. Part of my own inside cultivation has come from that, because at age 4 in my dad's church in Massillon, Ohio, I knew the spiritual wade in the water. I knew the spiritual go down Moses. I knew the spiritual, oh Mary, don't you weep no more. I knew steal away to Jesus.